The bracket has been revealed. This is one of the best days of the year, and I'm really excited to talk about it. It is
What?
the height differential. That's the 6'6" deal. I'm the 4'10" Nick. Before we jump in, remember, if you're watching live or if you're catching us later, subscribe to the height differential wherever you listen to pods. Rate it and leave a review, and then also follow us on social at height differential. I've been waiting for this show since we started in August. This is episode 36 now, which is crazy. But, I mean, when the bracket comes out, it's a holiday.
Is that a top 5 sports day of the year?
The whole week is, like, as a whole.
Okay. As a whole, yeah, I would agree with that.
And honestly, like, the conference tournaments are great too, just the lead up to it. But it officially starts on Sunday when they reveal the bracket. Get all the time to look at it. Change your picks over and over.
Oh, yeah.
And then my first thing is breaking down the committee's decisions. And I will say this year, for the most part, I thought they did a really good job. And I don't know if that is because there was such a separation kind of there at the end of the bubble. But last year we had the whole deal with North Carolina getting in when people didn't really think they should have got in. I don't think there's any teams that got left out this year that they're like, oh, no, how do we leave them out of the tournament?
No,
But your Red Hawks got in.
yeah, that's a whole other story. That's on my list of things of what I think the committee got wrong. But no, I mean, like, it was not a great bubble. I mean, we talked about, the basically 500 Auburns and Oklahomas and Indianas of the world that have not been playing good basketball that nobody really wants to see in there. But I'm also on the side of I don't really want to see Miami of Ohio in there either. And guess what? Here's what the committee did. They put them in as, if you go on the seed list, they're the 44th on the seed list, which is the very last at-large team to get into the tournament. So you know what that tells me? That tells me that the committee did not want to put them in. The committee knew that they didn't deserve to get in. They didn't want to put them in, but the committee didn't want to deal with the BS of the media and the public and all of that. They didn't want to deal with the aftermath of their decisions. So they're like, the easy choice was to just put them in, and that's what they did. They didn't want to, but they did it because they just felt like they had to.
But to be fair, that wasn't actually the case. They weren't the last team to get into the tournament.
Based on the seed list, they're the lowest at-large seed list.
That is true. And
Yes.
and what they did, they were clearly in. And when they got down to it and they had the Final Four, they reseeded them. So they actually moved Miami, Ohio down. They were in the tournament ahead of SMU, ahead of Texas. But then when they reseeded the Final Four, they moved them down. So they had Miami, Ohio in.
The first four, not the Final Four.
Yeah, the first four.
Yeah.
They had them in, but then when they reseeded, which honestly doesn't make a ton of sense to me, because if you're saying Miami, Ohio is clearly in, and then when you reseed them and you move them down, then according to the seed list, you're right. Yeah, they were the last team in. So why was the last team in? I don't know. It's all really doesn't matter much. But per the committee, Miami, Ohio was the lowest seed at large, but they were not the last team to get in, if that makes sense.
I don't know. They put them in the first four, which still tells me they don't really want them in the tournament, but they feel like they had to put them in. And then we're just going to watch them get their butts kicked on Wednesday by SMU.
Well, and we talked about this too. I think this is probably the right way to do it.
Yeah.
This was the right way.
Make them prove it.
And you've got a SMU team that has really struggled down the stretch. And I don't know. They're by far the best team that Miami, Ohio's played all year, other than Akron is really the only team that's close.
Yeah.
So I know we've talked a ton about Miami, Ohio on this podcast. And I will say that game on Wednesday night might be the most viewed first four game in the history of the NCAA tournament.
I mean, how far is Miami of Ohio's campus from Dayton, Ohio?
Less than an hour.
Less than an hour. So it's going to be a home game for the Red Hawks.
Right.
But
and Travis Steele was on, I've listened to so many pods today, but he was on one of them talking about, I mean, they're going to travel and it's going to be a home game, and they're excited about it, and they should be.
Sure. let them get excited. I don't know, other things besides that I questioned the committee on was the seeding of St. John's, a
Yeah.
5 seed. I mean, ho make it make sense. They're 19-1 in their last 20. They won the regular season and Big East tournament titles. They've beaten UConn twice.
Yep.
UConn's a 2, and they're sitting there at a 5. Make it make
Yeah.
sense.
The the thing, like UConn just has so many more quality wins outside of the conference than St. John's does.
They
They
also lost to
won. They
Marquette,
beat
but
BYU. They beat Illinois. They beat Kansas. They beat Florida.
they lost to Marquette.
They also lost. They've lost to Creighton too. They've
Okay.
got a couple bad losses down the stretch. If you look at the net, UConn is 10. St. John's is 16. They're only separated by 6 spots, and there's no way in the world that St. John's is a 5.
No, and
They
then not only do you make them a 5, you make them a 5 in a region with Duke,
Yeah,
UConn, Michigan State, and Kansas.
right.
Like, good
No,
lord.
no, they definitely were not rewarded for the way they've played the last 20 games.
Yeah,
You you won the Big East regular season and the conference tournament. I think it shows you that the committee really had a lack of respect for the Big East this year.
yeah,
It is down,
yeah,
and that showed. Like, I don't think like, I agree with UConn still being ranked ahead of St. John's because of the quality wins that they have over them, but being 3 seeds higher, and then
yeah.
you put them in the same region,
Same yeah.
and then
With
you
the
put them
number
in the
1
same
overall
region.
seed. With the number 1 overall seed in
Right.
Duke.
That's the one that really caught my eye. The other one was Vanderbilt. I thought they were underseeded as well. I thought at the least they would be a 4.
Yeah,
If you compare Vanderbilt with the teams that actually got 4s, which is Nebraska, Arkansas, Alabama, and Kansas, I mean, their net's higher than all of them. They have more Q1 wins than all of them, and they get to the conference title game, and they're a 5. Those are really my 2 main beefs with the bracket. Um, One other one to me is Florida's a 1 seed, and if they get to the Elite 8 and they gotta play Houston, they're gonna be the 1 seed playing Houston in Houston
and Houston. Yeah,
as the 2.
yeah,
And we saw this last year with Purdue where they had Houston had to beat Purdue. I think it was the Sweet 16 last year in Indianapolis when they hosted the regional. So I get it. These things are hard to it's hard to avoid them completely. And you want to give high seeds. You want them to be around so they can travel. But Florida having to play Houston in Houston in that Elite Eight game is a tough reward for being a 1 seed.
yeah. No, that's I mean, that's we remember from our women's basketball days of when Louisville women's basketball was a 1 seed and had to go play in Albany, New York against the 2-seeded UConn. Um,
Yes.
so something similar to that, but this is even worse because you're actually playing in Houston. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, they they had to put I think Florida was probably, like you said, like, they're the last 1 seed to get the last of the 1 seeds, so they put them in, they had the most advantageous, spot, and Houston happens to be the best of the 2 seeds, so they get that luxury of playing in Houston.
And if
But
that game does come into fruition, Houston gonna be looking for a little revenge from last year.
yeah,
So that game's gonna have a lot of intrigue.
yeah, yeah, and then what do you think about Purdue getting a 2 seed? I mean, they
Well,
struggled out. They lost 4 of 6 going into the conference tournament. They get hot in the conference tournament. They had a great win against Michigan, but they had not been playing good ball coming in.
well,
They
I
were
mean,
7 seed in their own conference tournament, and then here they are
which is
on the 2 line.
we talked when we did our draft of teams most likely to win the title. What 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Neither one of us even picked Purdue,
No, I still wouldn't.
and I mean, after the way they played this weekend, I think you would have. I mean, if you're picking 10 teams, I think they have to be on that list.
They might be
But
on the top 10, but
at the time, like I was thinking they were probably gonna be a 3 or a 4,
I was expecting at least a 3.
probably more on the 4 line going into the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
And look, we saw last year with the Big Ten tournament, it didn't matter at all. Do you remember Michigan's seed after the tournament? It just made no sense. And this year, I don't know if they overcompensated, but the Big Ten tournament obviously did make a big deal because they moved all the way up to a 2 line. Now, look, they've got wins over Alabama, Texas Tech. You know, outside of that, most of their wins are inside the Big Ten. But we saw they had some bad losses too down the stretch. I was surprised that they moved up to a 2 line. Lenardi had them up to a 2 before they even had won the Big Ten championship.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you're saying, is that another one that you're surprised about? Yeah. And like, who would have been the other 2 over them? It would have been, who's the 9 on the seed line? It is
And
Michigan State. So
Virginia,
basically
Michigan
what
State.
happened is they
Yeah,
won the Big Ten and basically
yeah,
flipped over Michigan
yeah,
State,
yeah,
which I I mean, I can see that.
yeah. That
I can
makes
see
sense.
that. Like, you're not gonna move Illinois or Michigan State, who's 9 and 10. I'm not
You wouldn't
moving
put
Gonzaga up
Gonzaga?
ahead of you.
You wouldn't have flip-flopped them with Gonzaga?
N
I mean, Gonzaga's 30-3. I know their conference schedule is what it is, but
their net's higher. Yeah. I don't know. Their net's higher. Gonzaga's only has 7 quad 1 wins. Purdue has 11. But also Purdue has 8 quad 1 losses, and Purdue only has 2. We're kinda just really nitpicking because I do think they did a really good job this year. And that one, the St. John's and Vandy ones were the ones that shocked me the most. And the biggest thing is St. John's and UConn having 3 seed lines between them
yeah.
and them being in the same bracket. But I'll tell you what, if I'm Duke, I don't wanna see St. John's in the Sweet 16 and have to play them that early.
No.
That's a disservice to Duke as your number 1 overall seed too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I mean, Duke is the number 1 overall seed, did not get an easy road, that's for
No,
sure.
and we'll get into that. But first I wanna like, I just think with the field,
Yeah,
Lenardi got 68 of 68 right,
yeah,
and he's done that before. But I also think it shows how kinda clear cut it was,
yeah.
how kinda clear cut the bubble was. And this is why, before we get into what we're gonna talk about next, this is why we don't need an expansion to what, 76 teams?
Is that what they were talking about going to? Yeah, I mean, we don't need anything beyond what we have now.
Like, look at these at-large play-ins that we would be forced to watch. Arizona State, California, Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, Indiana, Oklahoma, Auburn, San Diego State, SMU, Miami, Ohio, and Texas, NC State already on it.
Yeah, we don't
So
need all that.
additional 4 games,
We don't need it.
and then you just get a bunch of 16s playing each other. Like, even more 16s don't get rewarded for having and getting to play a big-time blue blood because you gotta play another 16 to get there. And we've talked about that over and over, how
Yeah,
stupid
we're on
we
the
think
same
that
side
is.
of we're on the same side of that one, yeah.
So, you were starting to talk about that. Who do you think, what one has been rewarded with the easiest path, and which one has been handed the toughest path?
Oh, yeah, I've got them in order here. I've got them in order. If we're going easiest to hardest, Michigan, I think, just has a cakewalk to the Elite Eight. I mean, that to me, Michigan has by far the easiest road down there in the Midwest. After that, I think Florida's is probably the second easiest. I mean, they're going to have to deal with Houston come the Elite Eight, but I don't really see them. Vanderbilt in the Sweet 16 will be their only toughest test, and we talked about that right before we got on here that you don't think Vandy can do it again.
They could, but I think it would be really tough to do.
Then we get, I mean, the last two, the Duke and Arizona. I went back and forth on this. I think Duke is the third easiest or second hardest, if you will. I mean, like I said, the committee didn't do them any favors, putting them with UConn as the 2, Michigan State as the 3, Kansas, and then St. John's, the red hot St. John's team that they're going to have to end up facing in probably the Sweet 16. So that's just a tough road, especially with the quality of coaching of all of those teams. I mean, we're talking legends of the game here, with those teams with Pitino and Self and Izzo and Hurley, who's relatively new on the scene, but has done,
He will
remarkable
be a
things.
Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, that's gonna be tough for Duke, but I think, Arizona. I picked Arizona as the hardest one, as the hardest road to get through. I mean, you've got Purdue as your 2 seed, who we just talked about struggled at the end of the year, but
But
they
you just
came
said
on
you wouldn't
hot.
pick them, no?
Yeah, I mean, they came on hot in the Big Ten tournament, beat Michigan, won that Big Ten title. That's your 2. Gonzaga is your 3, who I think is underrated. Um, they're sitting there at 30-3. And then, you've got to deal with Arkansas, who just won the SEC title, and Wisconsin, who I think is very underrated this year. Nobody's really talked much about Wisconsin, but they're damn good. And I have them beating Arkansas in the second round and facing Arizona in the Sweet 16. So I think with Wisconsin, Arkansas, Purdue, and Gonzaga sitting there, they're going to get tested.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on the Michigan having the easiest path. Like, their their 5 is a Texas Tech team without JT Toppin. That
Yes.
when they had him, I think they were a legit Final Four contender. I don't know if they were a national title contender, but a legit Final Four contender. Alabama has great guards, but they're not
One of
gonna
them just
guard
got
you.
arrested. One of their second leading
Yeah,
scorers
and
got
one of them just
arrested.
got arrested.
Yeah.
Uh, like, only team I think that can beat Michigan is Iowa State in that whole region. Like,
And I
they're
I I don't trust Iowa State. I know they're good, but I don't trust them.
I you've been down on Iowa State all year. I trust them, and they can beat Michigan. Will I pick them to beat Michigan? Probably not. But the fact that I don't think Michigan is going to get tested until an Elite Eight game.
Yeah.
Very obvious that that is the easiest path.
Yeah, it's a cake. I mean, it's an easy road for them to get to that Elite 8.
I look at the other paths. I like everybody keeps talking about Duke's path being the hardest. I think it's the second easiest. And UConn is I don't trust them at all right now. I'm not a fan. I don't love Michigan State. I think their Sweet 16 game, if it is St. John's, is their toughest game for them to get out of that bracket.
Okay.
So that's why I have the Duke's path as the second easiest. Then I would go Arizona. I agree with you. That whoever wins that Wisconsin Arkansas game, they can beat Arizona. I don't Arkansas with Acuff and the rest of their guards when Brazil's playing the way he's playing.
Yeah,
Like they go 7 deep, but they can beat anybody on a given night. Wisconsin, they were the first team to beat Michigan. They got one of the best backcourts in the country with Blackwell and Nick Boyd.
yeah,
They're gonna have a tough game, I think, with High Point in the first round.
they will.
Um, and then I don't believe in this Gonzaga team, especially if Braden Huff is not back healthy, and it doesn't look like he's going to be healthy till at least the Sweet 16. So even without Richie Saunders, I think maybe because you've got the best, who I think is the best player in the country, I could see BYU still beating them. But I I could see Wisconsin, Arkansas, and Purdue potentially beating Arizona.
Mhm.
And
And
but I think the hardest path is Florida. And like Nebraska, Vanderbilt, I think both can beat them. Illinois is the best offense in the country. And then I'm a fan of Kelvin Sampson and Houston in the tournament. I think all of those teams can beat them. Now, look, as the fourth one, I think you should have the toughest path. Do I think you should, like I've already said, do I think you should have to go to Houston to beat Houston in the Elite Eight to get to the Final Four? I don't know about that, but I I just think that's a really tough path. And if they can get through that, then good on them, and they're gonna have a chance to win back to back. But I to me, the clearest one is Michigan has the easiest path.
yeah, yeah, there's no question about that.
Like I just I just look at the top of that bracket and who are they gonna play in the Sweet 16? Out of Texas Tech, Akron, Alabama, and Hofstra. Like I think that's an opportunity for a 12 or 13 to get out of there.
Yeah,
I really do.
I mean, it very well could be Akron.
Yeah.
very well
As
could be
much as
accurate.
you love Miami, Ohio,
I
you
hear you, but I
you
I think I think actually if I were to actually if I were to pick, I think Akron does get out. I have Akron beating Texas Tech on the
yeah.
bracket. And
And look, I love Christian Anderson. He's one of my favorite guards in the country, but he slipped and hurt his ankle a little bit on the
get on the
court.
field. Yeah,
Was a big reason why they
they switched
changed
the
the
court.
court
Yeah,
in Kansas City. If he's not healthy, I mean, I don't know how you overcome. There was a point in time where they had two of the top 10 players in the country. I really believe that. And if he's not 100% and you've already lost Toppin, yeah, I think that's a prime spot for an upset. What first round matchup do you look forward to most in the East?
there's not a lot of great ones in the East. I mean, the one that I think is the most interesting is going to be the hometown team here. It's going to be the Louisville South Florida game. It's going to South Florida, they've won 11 in a row. They came off now winning the American Championship. I mean, they're Louisville's favored by 5.5. It's all going to depend on if
Well, it
Michael
was six
Brown
and a
can get.
half earlier that already moved.
Yeah, it was 5.5 when I checked it before the show. It's going to depend on if Michael Brown is healthy. If he's healthy, I
Yeah.
think Louisville wins this game without question. But South Florida, like they're eighth in the country in scoring. They average 87 points a game. Louisville's 20th at 84 points a game. So up and down, high paced offense. It's gonna be a shootout, and those kind of games are fun. But you look around the rest of the games in this region, and there's just not really a lot of interesting ones. But I think that one, just based on the way that South Florida's been playing, they haven't lost since they haven't lost since January. But just the style of play and the way that they match up with Louisville, it's gonna be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, and Hodgson's going back to his hometown where his
Yeah,
dad
his
has
dad.
dementia
Yep,
and
yep,
hasn't seen him coach a game. He's now in his third year as a head coach. Came from Arkansas State.
yeah.
It I think the fact that they do like to get up and down it plays in Louisville's favor a little bit than somebody who wants to, just kinda slow it down.
Yeah,
But the bottom line is, are they gonna hit threes? And that's been the fact with Louisville all year. But I have not seen one expert on TV pick Louisville to win this game. Not
I
a
know,
single one.
I know,
Not a single one.
I know. I
And
know.
look, there's games like this every year. Like PK is going to be motivated. They're going to be motivated to get a win here.
Yeah,
And it's just the question marks around Michael Brown is
hmm
that's if he plays and they hit threes. Like I think the fact that South Florida, like I said, like they like to get up and down, I think plays in their favor. Uh, but if they have a bad shooting night, you never know what's going to happen. That's just kind of what this Louisville team is at this point.
yeah,
So, but yeah, if I look at the rest of that region, there's really no other game that stands out to me. I think it's by far the best game in the East and the one I'm looking forward to for more than obvious reasons
yeah.
to watching. Um, I guess to stick in the East, who do you have your Sweet 16 and then your Elite 8?
Sweet 16. Yeah, I've got Duke advancing to Sweet 16. St. John's advancing to the Sweet 16. Then I would put Michigan State to the Sweet 16. That last one's tough. If UCLA can play well, they can beat UConn. Uh, they played well in the Big Ten tournament and made it to the semis. I still think UConn's probably a little bit better, so I'll stick with the chalk and go.
Also, like Donovan Dent has got to be healthy from them. If he's not healthy,
Yeah,
which I think he is going to play, but everybody says that before the
tournament.
selection because they don't
Mhm.
want it to affect their seating.
Of course.
It I just even with that being a question mark, I don't know how I could go UCLA there. But they
Yeah,
are playing better basketball right now.
they are playing good. Yeah, but I've got
My
UConn in that Sweet 16. Then Elite 8, we're gonna go. I think the Johnny's run comes to an end. I'm gonna go Duke in the Elite 8 with Michigan State as that other team with Duke beating Michigan State to advance to the Final Four.
so I mean, this is what the problem is with these shows. I've got the same Sweet 16. And there's just no way I'm picking Kansas over St. John's the way St. John's is playing right now. And but I'm going to Johnny's to beat Duke. I like you got question marks surrounding Caleb Foster and Njugba. Are they going to play? And
They've won
Zuri,
without him. They keep winning without him.
I know, but God, I can't just go chalk on all these. And
Duke's been the best team all year. I mean, hands down, they've been the best team all year.
do they don't want to see St. John's in the Sweet 16. I guarantee it. And Ekafor is one guy down low that can be he can play big with Boozer. Like I think he could provide problems for him. I I don't like you got to pick some upsets somewhere. And
You
you
do.
you and you give me Rick after their disappointment last year where they lost in the second round.
Yeah.
He's going to have extra motivation. I I'm going St. John's and UConn in the Elite Eight, and I'm going St. John's to get to the Final Four.
All right. Rick Pitino in the Final Four. Another team. That would be what his fourth team he takes to the Final Four.
Which is just the
It's insane.
dude doesn't
He just
is
wins. Yeah.
look to me. He's in the argument as the greatest college coach of all time.
I mean, you have to put him in the argument. There's no question
And
about that.
the fact that he's done it at so many different places, like, look, I get it. What Coach K did at Duke is incredible, but he did it all at one school. Like, what
Yeah.
he's done, it's just and dude, he wins the Big East and he goes to the podium with the beer. I know Kenny Klein gave him the beer before he went up there.
Of course he
Like,
did.
he's just I don't know. I love the way they're playing right now, and they play with a lot of confidence. And I don't know the Duke's injuries. I think make could potentially catch up with them, and that's where I think it could happen. Going to the West, what first round game are you looking forward to the most?
Going to the West. All right, let's take a look at what I put down here in the notes. Um,
I'm proud of you for taking some notes.
yeah. In the West, the Wisconsin versus High Point game is my
Good.
uh is my most intriguing game. Wisconsin
Am I
favored
gonna
by
have to
nine and a
pivot
half.
because I picked the same one?
Did you?
Yeah, we can't just pick the same one every time.
Well, yeah, we didn't collaborate beforehand here. You could have told me that, but no. But like High Point, third in the country in scoring. They average 90 points a game. Wisconsin's 35th in scoring. They're at 83 points a game. High Point shoots the ball well for 49% from the field. They lead the country in steals at 11 a game, but they're playing a Wisconsin team that doesn't turn it over a lot. So it's kind of like a little, who's going to come out on top with their style. Like is it the defensive High Point? Is it going to be the offensive Wisconsin? Wisconsin's fourth in the country and made threes per game. So I mean, this is going to just be an absolute high scoring. Should be a high scoring affair. Like we talked about Wisconsin's guards with Nick Boyd and John Blackwell, both averaging about 20 a game. And then another reason this is intriguing, have you seen this? The High Point, the guard from High Point that just shoots all threes, the new Jack Golke.
The new Jack Okie.
Have you heard about this kid?
Yeah.
This Chase Johnston, who's 64 of 132 from three and 0 of 4 from two. He's 0 of 4 from two. No, but
Wonder,
like, but
would you
this
think was his foot on the line on those?
He might have been. He might have been. But no, this game's going to be great. Like I said, High Points, they score the ball. It's going to be a high-scoring affair. It's going to be offense. I think Wisconsin probably wins, but it's going to be a close one. It's going to be exciting.
So I am going to go different. I'm going Sean Miller, Will Wade in the play-in.
You're going playing game.
Two guys that back when there were rules, got in trouble. Now there's no rules. Playing each other in the playing game. You made me think on the fly. I think it's kind of cool to see those two coaches going at it in the play-in. I'm surprised, honestly, that NC State's in the play-in. That was one of the other things that kind of surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, but
But
they tanked out toward the end of the season.
but yeah, I'll go Sean Miller, Will Wade.
All right, but stick to your original. If you were to stick with the Wisconsin High Point, why is that your choice? Why would that have been your choice?
Just their styles.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a lot of the same things you said. But I really I think Wisconsin's backcourt is as good as anybody in the country,
No, they
and
are.
they've proven they can beat anybody. This High Point team is their 2nd year in a row being in a tournament, uh, after what I don't think they had ever been in before last year. So, uh, I don't know, they spent a lot of money in NIL too. They're one of the higher spending, mid-conference teams to spend some money, so I think it could be an interesting game.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
What's, your Sweet 16?
We're gonna go Arizona versus Wisconsin in the Sweet 16, and I think that's gonna be a really good game. I can see Wisconsin winning that, but they've just been consistently good all year. Arizona wins that to go to the Elite Eight, and then on the bottom side, we're gonna have Purdue and Gonzaga matching up in the Sweet 16. When I've got the Zags, I've got Gonzaga winning that one, taking on Arizona in the Elite Eight, with Arizona advancing to the Final Four.
Give me Arizona, Arkansas, and BYU, Purdue.
BYU.
Yeah, they got the best player in the country,
I
and
mean, bruh.
well,
That's
Gonzaga's missing their best player,
I mean, they
and
got the best player in the country. Guess what? That best player in the country's lost 11 times this year. 11.
but, like, they could lose to Texas or NC State. I don't trust this Gonzaga team without Braden Huff. I just don't.
Okay.
I think it sets up for like, BYU's still proving that they can win games without Richie Saunders. I don't love it. I don't love it,
I honestly don't
but
think I think the BYU loses to the play-in winner.
which is possible. Which is possible, but I just if you give me AJ Devonta against Gonzaga, I'm going to take him, and I think he can do it. And like in the Big 12 tournament, he didn't touch the ball enough at the end of the game, and maybe they learned hopefully they learned their lesson from that. Um, but and then give me Arizona and Purdue and Arizona to the Final Four.
Okay. Okay.
In the South, I guess I'll start since
Since I
the
stole
game
you.
that I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
North Carolina VCU. North Carolina obviously is playing out without one of the best players in the country in Caleb Wilson, which I obviously gives VCU a better chance.
Yeah.
VCU under Phil Martelli Jr., who obviously his dad was an iconic coach at St. Joe's. VCU started the season 11-6 and 2-2 in league play. They've won 16 and 17 since then. Won the A10 tournament championship. They weren't going to get in unless they won.
Mhm.
So I think this, in addition to this being something, the matchup that I'm looking forward to, I also have this as one of my upsets. I've got VCU beating UNC.
Yeah, no, I have that as listed as my upset as well. I don't have it as my most intriguing game, but I do have it as my most likely upset in that region would be VCU over UNC without Caleb Wilson. My most intriguing matchup I have on here is the 7-10 matchup between St. Mary's and Texas A&M. Texas A&M buckyball,
Buckyball.
as they're known, get up and down. They're with their pace, their top 30 pace in the country, and they're going against a completely opposite style in St. Mary's, who deliberately they slow it down and they try to slow you down and play a completely different type of game. So that one's going to be whoever can dictate that pace and that their style and impose their style of play. That's who's going to win. So be interesting to see that one. But that's what I got.
And then I'm not close to all chalk. I got Florida, Vandy, Illinois, Houston, and then I got Florida, Houston, and then I got Houston getting revenge and going to the Final Four.
I'm gonna shake it up. I got Florida, Nebraska with Houston and Illinois.
That's not much of a shakeup. That's like
I
you
don't know,
replaced a
but you were
5
expecting me to say
before.
Vandy.
Well, you weren't a big fan of Nebraska 2 weeks ago when we were doing the draft.
I
So,
don't know. Vandy played a really, really good SEC tournament, but I was not impressed with them down the stretch when they went into Rupp and got absolutely housed by Kentucky.
but they
Um,
housed Kentucky at Memorial.
I know that was earlier in the season. I think they were playing better ball earlier in the season than they did in late January and February. But give me Florida, Nebraska, Illinois, Houston, Florida versus Houston, and the Cougars in
Oh,
in their own
you
backyard.
follow me on that one.
In their own backyard, Houston to the Final Four.
So right now you've got Duke, Arizona, and Houston,
Yep.
and I've got St. John's, Arizona, and Houston. All right, what matchup you looking forward to in the Midwest?
Well, we've talked about it enough, but the playing game, it's not really my most intriguing, but I just want to make mention of it. This is the opportunity for Miami of Ohio to prove that they belong. So that's why it's intriguing to me because I want to see if they actually can, put up or shut up against a Power Four team. But the other one, other than that, give me that Akron versus Texas Tech game. Texas Tech without JT Toppin, Christian Anderson. Obviously, we talked about him hurting himself in the Big 12 tournament, falling on that plexiglass floor or whatever that thing was. But Akron, I mean, they're ninth in the country in made threes per game, at 10.9. They're seventh in the country at scoring at 88 points per game. I just think their offense, I know they're a MAC school and, I've dogged the MAC and all of that, but they actually, have at least played other Power Four teams this year, unlike Miami of Ohio. So they've been tested. Give me Akron with their offense over a unhealthy Texas Tech team to pull that upset.
And going back to the Miami, Ohio smooth, it is expected that BJ Edwards is going to play for SMU, so that
Yeah.
would give them a boost. They've been without him over the last couple weeks. Um, Mine is the 8-9 game.
The 8-9 game.
Yeah, St. St. Louis and Georgia.
Everybody loves a good 8-9 game.
Well, we haven't picked any 8-9 games for our most intriguing game.
That's true.
Um, Obviously, St. Louis has Robbie Avila,
Yeah.
who has a million nicknames. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. What else does he have? Like a
I feel like he's been
bunch
in
of
school
different.
for like 10 years.
Yeah, I think he has.
Yeah.
The Billikens ranked 10th in the country in points per game with 87. They rank second in the country in 3-point percentage. Georgia ranks 8th in the country with 89.8 points a game. This is going to be a race to 95 points. Really, it's going to be up and down game. Should be a fun game to watch. I mean, Georgia's opponents are averaging almost 80 points a game, which ranks 315th in the country. So not going to be, and St. Louis is holding opponents to 70 points a game, which is a lot better than uh, 10 points better. But this is going to be a real up and down game. Should be fun to watch, and that's why I picked that as my most intriguing game of the Midwest. What you got for your Sweet 16?
Well, we talked about Michigan just basically walking their way to the Elite Eight. So give me Michigan versus Akron in the Sweet 16 on the top side, with Michigan winning that and going to the Elite Eight. And then on the bottom side, give me Virginia versus Iowa State, with Virginia moving on to the Elite Eight and Michigan over Virginia to go to the Final Four.
Okay. I have Michigan and Akron as well, which I don't love that we both picked that. And
If
then
Alabama could do it. If their second leading scorer is now arrested,
I just
I
I
just
just look at the fours and the fives there, and they have so many flaws.
yeah,
And
they do.
it is why Michigan has such an easy path.
Yeah.
And in the bottom, I have Tennessee and Iowa State.
Tennessee.
And
Okay.
and then I have Michigan playing Iowa State and Michigan going to the Final Four.
Okay.
All right. So you have on your left side, you have Duke and Houston.
Yeah.
Who's going to the Natty?
Give me the Duke Blue Devils to go to the national championship.
And then
And
I'm going
you've got what, St. John's in Houston
St.
over there?
John's and Houston.
Okay.
And I think this is where I think Houston is going back to the national title game.
Okay.
And then on the other side, I have 2 ones in
I
Arizona and Michigan,
I do as well, yeah.
and I have Arizona going to the title game.
God, that's a tough one. That's gonna be a hell of a game. Give me the Michigan Wolverines. Give me a rematch from earlier from DC with Michigan and Duke in the title game, and give me
Do do the Wolverines get revenge?
they do. I think Michigan wins the national title.
And I've got Arizona over Houston.
So our championship game is completely different. Our Final Fours are very similar, minus St. John's, but our championship games are different.
Yeah, I'm glad we had a little bit of differences there. Um, but I just some of these second round games I think are like these 5-4 games, like the St. John's, Kansas, Wisconsin, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Nebraska. All those games are really intriguing to me. And then you've got
Yeah.
the other one where I've got Akron playing Hofstra.
You got the Hofstra winning the first one over Alabama, huh?
Yeah, they don't guard, and now their second leading scorer is probably not going to play.
It's true. No, yeah. Well, I mean, that was one of the topics of the show was the second round matchups, and I got a few. St. John's versus Kansas, I think in the East is must watch TV with Bill Self and Rick Pitino going at it. I think St. John's wins that one, but that'll be a good one. Vandy, Nebraska is going to be a great game with the offense of both of those teams, and I've got Nebraska and winning that one, and then Arkansas, Wisconsin, a second round matchup in the West. Give me Wisconsin to beat John Calipari, and then in the Midwest, the Tennessee Virginia game was my second round matchup to look at, and I've got Virginia winning that one.
Yeah, like here's my thing. Like some of the teams that are seated lower that I think can make a run. Like I love the way Arkansas was playing last week, but I think they can get past the Sweet 16 and beat Arizona? No, I don't think they can. I love the way Vanderbilt's playing. Do I think they can beat Florida again? I don't. Uh, and then I've got Tennessee going to the Elite Eight, and that's more just because of the way it lines up for
Why
them.
do you have no
Yeah,
love for Virginia? What did Virginia do to you? They're sitting there at 29-5. They beat the hell out of some teams this year. Like they're a good team. They're better than Tennessee. I tell you that. They're better than Iowa State. Like
so
you have
here-
no love for Virginia. What do you have? Wright State pulling the upset in the first round?
here's Virginia's best wins of the year: Texas, NC State, Louisville, SMU, Florida State, Ohio State, NC State, Miami, Florida. So,
But look at the
uh,
margin of victories that they're beating these teams.
but the highest seeded team they beat was a 6 seed Louisville.
I guess.
So,
Yeah.
to me, they haven't proven that they can beat a top level team. If they beat Tennessee, I mean, that's they're around that they beat Louisville, that would be their best one of the year. And I think the job that Ryan Odom has done this year is phenomenal. DeRitter is a beast. And I don't think you got to pick some upsets in this thing. And sometimes it's more just the way everything lays out. Like I didn't expect myself to have Tennessee going to Elite Eight, but I'm not picking Tennessee go to the Final Four because it's never happened before, and it ain't happening with this team.
No.
Anything else that sticks out to you?
Um, no, nothing that I don't think we haven't already discussed on here. What about
Who
you?
did you pick in the 8-9 games?
8, 9 games? Give me the Buckeyes of Ohio State. Give me Clemson. We saw eights.
No, do it. Keep going.
Screw it. Give me St. Louis. And I really, I love Kevin Willard. Give me Villanova. Kevin Willard and Villanova.
Yeah, I picked off all 4 9s. So I've got TCU, Utah State, Iowa, and St. Louis. I mean, another story that everybody's talking about is just all the big name coaches in the East, and it is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the Hall of Fame region over there.
But and just the amount of good freshmen that are in this tournament. The injuries have played a huge role in this college basketball season. I think this tournament would be so much different if
Yeah.
JT Toppin was healthy,
Yeah.
if Richie Saunders was healthy, if we knew what was going on with Michael Brown, if Braden Huff was healthy with Gonzaga. I mean, obviously Caleb Wilson being out.
Bob Wilson. Yeah.
Um, I mean, you just and then with Duke's uncertainty too. I mean, both those guys sat out in the ACC tournament. I, it sounds like Njugba will come back before Foster. Um, but dude, you just look at the guys that got hurt. If you put them as a starting five, they they can make a run at the Final Four by themselves. That's how much talent we've lost in injuries this season.
Mhm. Do you wanna run through your upsets? I mean, I know we've talked about a few. Do you wanna run through
I
your
mean,
most likely upsets in each region?
dude, I've, I think I think you already have them all. I've got Hofstra and Akron playing each other in the second round,
Yeah.
and then I've got VCU beating North Carolina, and then nines don't count.
No.
That's all I have in the first round. Like I'm looking at this and I'm like, dude, you went way too much chalk. I did go Missouri beating Miami because I think that's going to be a pretty even matchup. I gave them the nod because they're playing
It's in their own
in
backyard,
in St.
basically.
Louis.
Yeah.
I struggled with Kentucky and Santa Clara. Like you just don't know what Kentucky team's going to show up.
Yeah.
I did eventually end up going Kentucky. I just because I think they have too much talent and Otego away can take the game over at any time. But I I went way too much chalk, and I know the SEC has more teams than anybody in the tournament, but I don't like how I'm leaning SEC so much on all these picks.
And they're not as good as they were last that season's not quite as good. They were still good, but not quite as good as they were
Well,
last year.
I mean, they're the deepest. They have the most teams in the bracket. The
Yeah.
Big 12 is by far the best league.
Yeah.
But in my Elite Eight, I mean, what I have three Big 12s and well, just one SEC, but I've got a lot of SEC teams winning games prior to that.
Yeah. I got A&M over St. Mary's. That's a 10 over 7. Not a huge upset, but I've got that one. I agree with you on VCU in North Carolina. I got the play-in winner beating BYU, so either NC State or Texas to beat BYU. Missouri, I got Missouri over Miami, so because it's in St. Louis, like you said, in St. Louis. Akron over Texas Tech. Santa Clara over Kentucky is a possibility. I don't think it'll happen, but it's on the radar, as well as High Point in Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin wins, but that's one that I could absolutely see happening. That's a 12-5. I mean, there's always a 12-5 in there. And Akron,
Yep.
Texas Tech, and High Point in Wisconsin, I think, are the two most likely scenarios.
Yep. But I think the Miami Ohio SMU game, man. If the Red Hawks beat the Mustangs, does that change? Because you've been off of them
Yeah,
every single show we've done for the last month.
If Don
You've
Kohler
been
wants
off of it.
if Don Kohler wants to send me a Miami of Ohio T-shirt, I'll wear it on the show.
And if they beat SMU,
Yeah,
then they get a chance at Tennessee. You never know what you're gonna get with Tennessee. And Ament's been banged up a little bit. Will he be healthy? I just I don't know. I would just really like to see Miami, Ohio take care of business and
oh, we know
shut
you
you
would.
up a little bit.
We know you
Shut
would.
you up a little bit. Dude, look, let's be real. That Thursday or that Friday, whenever they played UMass,
Yeah,
because we had talked about it so much the week before,
yeah,
and there was a point where Miami, Ohio was up 11 points. Looked like it was in the bag. Then all of a sudden, UMass just starts making a run. Frank Martin's going nuts on the sideline. Then our techs start blowing up. Here come the Minutemen, and it pretty much it made your day.
oh, I was hard cheesing. Hard cheese. But like here's the opinion of Miami of Ohio from Vegas. They have lost one game all year. They were undefeated. We were all well aware of that. SMU's been struggling big time coming down the stretch. They barely hold on to get in the tournament.
Well,
They're in
that's
this playing
because
game. They're a 6.5 point favorite over Miami. 6.5.
they've been playing without BJ Edwards for a while, and they're getting him back. That's a big reason why they've struggled.
Okay. 6.5 point favorite over this mighty Miami of Ohio Redhawk team that everybody thinks is so great. Six and a
Well,
half.
I don't think anybody thinks they're so great. I think they belong in the tournament. They're the very last team on the seed line that is an
So
at-large. So,
what happens if they lose by 15? You gonna say they did or did not belong?
no, they belong because they were undefeated through 31 games.
That doesn't mean you belong. You
Yes,
didn't
it
win your
does.
conference. You didn't win your conference tournament.
Yes, it does. It
No.
does mean
You
that.
had a chance to prove you belonged, and you choked.
You won 31 straight games to start the season.
You choked.
You want to start a precedent where we're keeping undefeated teams out that start 30-0, 31-0, and
Yeah,
they
when
don't
they have
deserve
a
to be in the tournament?
364th ranked non-conference schedule, absolutely.
They still haven't lost a game.
So
They won every game that was in front of them, every single one of them.
there are 60 teams that would have won every single
And
game
you
in front
want
of
to
them if they had that schedule. We've talked about this. 60.
a million times. I know, but like Oklahoma, they were the first one out according to the committee.
Yeah. Yes.
Like you'd rather Oklahoma be in this dang thing than Miami, Ohio. Like I
Think they
just
give a
don't understand the logic behind that.
I don't think really any of them should be in, but
So just skip it.
yeah. Just stop playing these playing games.
Dude, and your logic that all teams are gonna now start not playing anybody so they can just be undefeated is just
The
so
blueprint is
passive.
there. The blueprint is there.
It's impossible.
The blueprint's there.
Like, you still have to win every game. There's no blueprint. Like, that's why this has happened 5 times since 1985. That a team has gone
Right.
to their conference tournament undefeated. It's
So
happened 5 times.
so let's say this. Let's say Miami of Ohio, instead of playing the IU Easts and the trendy Illinois, let's say
And
they
the
replace
mulligan.
those two
And the
games.
mulligan.
Let's say they replaced those two games and they played they played 2 Power 4 games. They actually stepped up and actually played somebody, and they lost. Let's say they lose to Michigan State by 15, and earlier in the year they lost, I don't know, they would have lost, like, let's say Louisville by 15.
Mhm.
They're undefeated in conference, but they've got 2 losses, and then they lose that first round game in their conference tournament. So 3 losses. Are they
Mhm.
automatically in?
Well, you're kinda looking at Akron's resume there.
But they won their conference tournament. Akron would not
I
have
mean,
been in.
no, but I know. And if Miami, Ohio wins the conference tournament, Akron comes in second,
Akron's not in.
Akron probably doesn't get in.
So you're rewarding them for not playing 2
Now,
Power 4
look,
games.
don't get me wrong. It's not like Akron went out and played a bunch of Power Fours. They played one game. They lost to Purdue by 18 points.
It's one more than Miami played.
But with that loss and with the Miami, Ohio loss, and they also lost to Yale and to Troy. But yeah, no, they wouldn't have got in.
So you're rewarding them for having a crap schedule, for not playing a Power 4 team. So there's your
You're
blueprint.
rewarding them for
There's
being
your
undefeated.
blueprint. There's your
You're
blueprint.
rewarding them that you can't copy the blueprint.
You can copy the blueprint.
So do you really think teams are going to now start going out
No, I
and
don't think they're going to do that because a lot of the other teams, they're not baby. They're not ducking competition. They're ducking the smoke. So no, like nobody's going to do that because it's just stupid for them to do. But if Miami of Ohio wants to keep doing it and keep fraudulently making their way into this tournament, then I guess they can.
well, they're in? And
Will they play a Power 4 team next year?
yes,
I would hope
yes.
so.
And look, you got to go. You got to go on the road to do it because nobody's coming to your place.
Well, that's normal.
And
That's normal.
yeah, it's normal, but you're not going to get anybody on neutral court unless you playing one of these tournaments, and it's really hard to get power fours in those tournaments with mid majors.
Mhm.
So, yeah, they're gonna have to go on the road and play an Ohio State or play a Purdue or play somebody like that, and they might already have it on the schedule.
Oh, but if they
Like, these
lose, they're
schedules,
they're
for
not
the
getting in
most
the
part, are
tournament.
done many
Why would
years
they
in
do that?
advance.
Why would they do that? Because if they lose, they don't get in the tournament. Go play the Trinity Illinois. Go play the IU East, and you're in.
Eh, you still gotta win all the games.
It's not hard to beat IU East.
I know. Like, I see what you're saying. Like, if you play Purdue in this schedule and you're 30-1, are they in the tournament? No team's ever been left out with 30 wins, so maybe, but I don't think it's as much of a guarantee as it was kinda like, we all knew they were getting in on Sunday.
What was that IU, the Indiana State team, Josh Hurts' last year with Robbie Avila was on that team and Conwell and all like, remember they started out the year like gangbusters, and they lost in their conference tournament, they didn't get in. Would you remember what their record was that year? This was what, like, 3,
I
4
don't
years
remember off
ago?
the top of my head.
But they had a great season, they
And then they
lost.
played in the NIT?
Yeah, they played in the NIT, but, they lost a Power 4 game along the way or 2 and
Yeah.
didn't win their conference tournament, and they were the 1 seed in the NIT.
Yeah. I mean, what Miami, Ohio finished what, 92 or 93, and they're behind High Point in the Ken Pom. So,
Well deserved, Redhawks. Good luck.
but it will be the most watched game in first four history. And plus you got Dickie V and Charles Barkley on the call.
Can't beat that.
They're doing all the first four games, which would be kinda cool.
Love that. But
But it's a great
congratulations to the Miami Redhawk women who actually did win their conference tournament and rightfully deserved their spot in their NCAA tournament on the women's side. So congrats to the Lady Redhawks.
Speaking of the women, have you looked at the women's bracket?
I peeked at it. I was more busy like after the selection yesterday, I was busy getting stuff together for us hosting here on Friday, or I'm sorry, on Saturday. So I didn't really get the chance to dive into it too much, but I mean, if we're just talking about Louisville specifically,
Yeah.
I like the way it sets up for the Cards. They start out at home with Vermont, and then play the winner of Alabama, Rhode Island, and then they're in the Fort Worth regional and would match up against most likely a Michigan team that I think they can beat, and then a Texas team, which is I mean they're very good, but at least you're not on that UConn UCLA side of things.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. You wanna avoid UConn, and UCLA too. But I do like their draw, and they gotta win some games at home and then take their chances in Fort Worth, and, uh, I don't think Michigan and Ken Barnes-Enrico wants to see Louisville and Coach Walz on the other side,
No, no,
and if I mean, if you get the Elite 8, I'll take my chances, like,
yeah, yeah.
whatever happens, happens. Um, how there's controversy on whether UCLA or UConn should be the overall number 1 is beyond me. Like like, they're arguing this on TV last night, like, UConn is undefeated, and their average margin of victory is, like, 20 something points a game. Yeah, they're the overall
I
number
think it
1
was
seed.
actually in the 30s, but yeah,
Yeah, it's 30. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like 20, 30 points a game,
they're killing it. Yeah.
and, like, I get it, UCLA is really good, but there's pretty obvious to me who the overall number 1 is,
Yes.
and we'll see. I
UCLA is damn good though. I mean, real
yeah,
good.
and
You win your
and they don't get
conference
talked about
championship game. You win your conference championship game by over 50 points
against a good,
against a
Iowa
good
team that's
a
number 2
number
seed.
2 seed Iowa. You won by
Yeah,
50 points. Like that's getting it done. They're
yep.
real, real good.
So, no, excited for the Cards game on Saturday. Good to see them host an NCAA tournament game. Hopefully, we can get a good crowd in there, get what, 9, 10,000? Was it
Yeah,
possible?
yeah.
Get it popping in there, and then it'll be a Monday night game if they win on Saturday, right?
We don't know time yet. I don't know what they do on times on a Monday for the second round. I don't know historically if they've started
I
it
think
like
historically the
they might
Mondays
start like
are all
early
night
afternoon,
games.
maybe like start around
Uh,
3, 4.
maybe,
Yeah,
maybe, but
I don't know. We'll see.
and I guess before we get out of here, talk a little World Baseball Classic?
Yeah, yeah. You watched last night's game?
Of course.
We got the benefit of a ball forced called strike 3 to end the game. Luckily, there was no challenge
And in the
system,
8th inning as well.
and in the 8th inning as well. Luckily, no challenge system in place. But, I mean, just to hold the Dominican lineup to 1 run, I mean, it's
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. I mean, Paul Skeens did a great job, and then, everybody else that came in after him for the Americans, pitched really, really well. Bednar, once again, gets in a jam, gets out of it with no damage. But no, they're excited for the US.
And then DeRosa's got some slack for the way he handled the tiebreaker, but he puts Gunnar Henderson in the lineup and he goes yard.
Yeah,
So he needs to get some credit for that.
we'll see. Are the
I, I
Italians
saw
winning
they
too?
were up 2-0 earlier tonight.
Since when did the Italians, who I don't think any of those players are actually born
They're
in
all
the
American. It's an
Yeah,
American
they're
Part
all
2 team.
American.
It's
Like, who
American Part 2 team.
how are they just doing this? I haven't heard of any of these guys.
America Part 2. Well, you've heard Aaron Nola, who was pitching tonight.
Yeah. They're up 2-1 in the 7th.
Yeah. So, no, it's fun to watch a little baseball before the season gets started. The game tomorrow night will be exciting. I think it would be more exciting to see them play Venezuela, but you also, if you play Italy, you get a chance for a little revenge.
I think they take care of business tomorrow night.
And then I guess for our when we did our draft for the tournament,
Yeah.
you had Duke,
Yeah.
you had Arizona, I believe. Let me see. Your squad is Duke, UConn, Arizona, Michigan State, and Gonzaga.
Okay.
My squad is Michigan, Florida, Houston, Illinois, Iowa State. So I say we get points by how far they advance, and we'll
Okay.
see who gets the most points at the end of it. Looking at that,
I don't love my UConn pick right now, I'll tell you that. That was right before they lost
that,
to Marquette.
that was your second pick, dude.
That was right before they lost to
So our
Marquette.
order of picks. So this was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Our orders of picks was you went Duke, I went Michigan and Florida. Then you went UConn and Arizona. Arizona was a fifth pick. If I get to pick right now,
I'm taking them 2.
dude, I might take them one.
Take them
I've
1
got
too.
them to win the whole dang thing.
Yeah.
And then after Arizona at 5, I took Houston and Illinois at 6 and 7. You took Sparty and Gonzaga at 8, 9, and then I took Iowa State at 10. My team's better.
Uh, yeah.
My team's better.
For right now, I think you have the advantage right now, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. Like I
I
don't
got
love
faith
your
in the boys. I
UConn.
got I got faith in those squads.
I don't love your UConn, your Sparty, or your Zags.
Uh, alright, you
Now,
keep doubting Tom Izzo. I don't know why, but
the one thing that
go
I
ahead and
would
doubt it.
change is if I could do this over, I would swap Arizona for Florida. But I'll roll with that squad. I like my squad.
Okay, we'll see where we end up.
We don't really have any other kind of fun stories because I knew we just talked tournament bracket the whole time.
We'll get a what would Joe do next week.
Yeah, and I'm kind of shocked. Like we're just over an hour in and we're already done here.
I mean, you could talk if you wanna talk about Cam Young, you can talk about Cam Young.
What? Oh, the players?
Mhm.
Did he win the thing or did Obear lose it? Dude, no, like they're debating that on PTI today. That drive on 18, dude, he's got a gap wedge in on that. He hit that thing 380, and that's one of the toughest drives in the game with
Yeah,
the water all on the left side. Good on Cam Young, and then Fitzy just hits us a little too far on 18,
and
gets
he
in the
missed
pine straw,
missed the
but then ends up having an 8-footer
yeah, he missed the 8-footer.
to send it to a playoff. Good on JT for playing well after really struggling last week
Yeah,
in the Arnold Palmer. It was good to see him play well. We talked about Rick having to get a top 10 to secure his spot for the Masters. He did not do that. He did not have his best golf all week, tied for 42nd. So now he's got to finish top 5 at Valero next week to get into the Masters, which is
Top 5?
gonna be a tougher task. Yeah, just because there's not many points
Plus
for
yeah,
Valero as there
yeah.
is for the players. But dude, that course will eat you up, man. Like the 16, 17, and 18 are as cool holes as finishing holes as there are in golf. And then that 6 hole where the trees. Do you like that hole where they got to hit it under the tree?
Yeah, yeah.
But we're getting closer to the Masters, baby. Like
It's definitely
tournament time,
tournament
Masters.
time, Masters.
And actually, like, I don't know what this weather is today, being 20 degrees again when it's been in the 60s, 70s all last week.
Yeah, opening day baseball and next week.
There's gonna be 20 degrees tomorrow morning.
That's stupid. It was 76 2 days ago.
It's the stupidest thing alive. I played on Friday. I played terrible.
I mean, that's usual for you, though.
My touch around the green was awful.
That usually is on that as well, yeah.
But
So you played standard Nick Evans golf.
that's normally my strength around the green. That's how I catch up to you long knockers.
Long knockers.
Uh, I got a new driver cover.
What, you already replaced the one? Oh, no, it was a putter cover that you got from the PGA.
Oh, I love that. I got the horse for my putter cover.
Yeah.
The
Alright, well, what
the
was the
racing horse.
driver cover?
It was just a Cobra, Rad
Okay.
Speed, which is what my driver is. It's red, white, and blue. It's patriotic. It's nice.
So what'd you
But I
get?
always talk about how it's the tortoise versus the hare playing golf, and I'm the tortoise
What?
because I don't hit the ball far. So I'm just plucking it down 180 down the
Okay.
middle, 150 with my
Well,
5 wood.
you got yourself a
I
turtle
got
head
a
cover.
turtle. I got a turtle head cover. It was only like $15
Where'd you get it from?
online. I saw it.
Okay.
I was like, for $15, it might be crap, but it's actually pretty. I mean,
Does the trick.
I'm, yeah, I'm a
Keeps the
fan.
clubs protected, keeps the driver protected.
I'm a fan.
Where'd you play
But
Friday?
huh?
Where'd you play on Friday?
The club, Glen Oaks.
Mm.
Also, that course just still kicks my ass, even though I play it a million times.
It's not easy. It's
We
not
only
easy.
played 9. Like it was also like it was playing in the British Open. It was so windy.
Yeah. Here we are.
Yeah, I had some good shots. I had some bad shots, but didn't make any putts. I did actually. I made one putt to save bogey on
One
7
putt.
after hitting. I
One
mean,
putt.
I'm talking like a legit like 10, 15 footer. I'm not like talking a 2, 3 footer. Do you count that as making putts?
Like, I'm just glad you made a 10-footer.
Me too. Me too. But excited to get out there. I'm excited to record us playing some golf and try to promote the height differential with us playing golf. Because the problem with this show is we're basically the same height on the screen, and you showcase us playing golf. You'll actually be able to see that the height differential is pretty significant.
Yeah, I mean, they can see it in the logo. That logo is a legit silhouette from my
Yeah,
wedding, so
but now get rid of this cold weather for 2 days. Let's go back to warm weather. Start playing some golf.
it's that stupid-ass groundhog's fault.
Watch basketball all day Thursday, Friday. Get to the Yum on Saturday. Cheer on the Cards. Beat Vermont. Watch hoops all day Sunday. Get back to the Yum on Monday. Watch them punch their ticket to the Sweet 16, and let's
You
do
gonna hit
it.
up the Joe Ziegler, March Madness party on Saturday after the
Yeah,
Cards game?
I believe so. Yeah,
Okay.
after because we do know we don't know what time we'll play on Saturday though.
Noon, bro.
Oh, we do.
What? It came out
Oh,
last night.
I'm talking. The men will play Saturday too.
Oh, you're talking about the men. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
thinking oh, yeah, yeah. We don't know. We won't know what time the men play
yeah.
until after Thursday.
But you're right. We were just talking women, and my
Yeah.
fact that my squirrel brain just for some reason went to the men. I don't know, but I don't know. Ready to watch a lot of hoops, drink some beers, eat some bad food. So it's one of the greatest times of the year, and that's why you go like this. Da, 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 da.
Oh boy. You
It's the
just go to
best
sleep
music,
you just go to sleep with your AirPods in, just listening to that song
bro.
over and over.
No, I don't. But on Thursday afternoon when that song hits, woo, it's it's pretty fun.
It is fun.
It's pretty fun, and I'm just the Cards are playing early. I'm glad it's not the very first game.
Who is the first game of the day that day? Who leads us
Oh,
off? Like, who when we hear that song, who are we gonna see?
why I don't have it right now. Let's let's look it up. TCU and Ohio State, 12:15 on CBS.
The
And it was
8-9.
last year. It was an 8-9 game last year too.
8-9. It's usually yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, first off, anybody who checked in with us live, we appreciate you listening. And remember to subscribe to the Height Differential, however you listen to pods. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube Music. We're everywhere. You can also visit heightdifferential.com. Check us out on social at Height Differential. We trying to get everywhere.
We're doing our best.
But one of the greatest weeks of the year. We appreciate y'all listening. For the 6'6" Neil, I am the 4'10" Nick. This has been the Height Differential. We will talk to you next week.
Give it to me.
I can't believe you think BYU is gonna win a couple games.
I think that bracket is, I don't know.
I'm really conflicted on High Point in Wisconsin.
I don't know either. My bracket always sucks. I watch so much hoops, and my bracket always
Well, like, the
sucks.
thing is like, you have to be like, you feel like you have to pick upsets, and then you
Yes.
start forcing upsets, and then they don't
Yes.
happen, and then you get pissed,
Yes.
it didn't happen, and then you're fucked.
Yes.